Hey everybody, it's time for another gaming vlog. And it's been quite some time since I've done one of these, so I'll forgive anybody who doesn't know what this is. Basically, it's a channel update where I talk about games that I'm currently playing, content that I'm working on, other projects that I have in the pipeline, all that sort of good, fun, happy stuff. If you're not into that sort of thing, there's plenty of other content on the channel that you may be more interested in. But if you are into this sort of thing, welcome. So, as I said at the beginning, it's been quite some time since I've done one of these. I think it's maybe been 6 months or so. And of course, the most significant news regarding the channel since the last one of these that I've done is that I've really slowed down the pace of content creation here. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the Our Favorite PC Games of 2016 So Far series, that's mostly as a result of me having started a new job, which has nothing whatsoever to do with gaming or Sunshot or the Nemesis Effect or any of that stuff that I've been working on for the past couple of years. And so as a result, I'm really not going to delve into that at all here. It's just really not appropriate and has nothing whatsoever to do with what I'm doing here on YouTube. But it suffices to say that most of my time these days goes toward that job. And I don't see that changing in the foreseeable future, which is a big part of the reason why I haven't really been focusing a lot on YouTube here in the past several months in particular. Having said that, I am pretty proud of the way the Favorite PC Games series turned out. I think some of the editing and some of the presentation stuff that I did in that was actually pretty interesting. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out yet, now might be a good time to do that. I think there's definitely some worthwhile content there, especially if you are a PC gamer and you're interested in seeing some of the more obscure, less publicized titles of this year that are quite good. I think there's a lot there to get excited about. I think in a lot of ways for me, this has been one of the best years of gaming that we've seen since probably like 2012. Not to say that there haven't been some good games over the past few years, but I definitely feel like on the whole, there's been a bit of a drought on a lot of different fronts that I see kind of coming to an end this year, which is pretty cool. I guess the other thing that I'll mention about that series is those of you who did watch it may be wondering what became of Max and myself trying to make our way out of the half-dead maze, because obviously when the series ended and we got to number 1 on our respective lists, it kind of just stops. But obviously we're still there stuck in the maze where we leave things off. So what I'm actually going to do is we filmed an additional discussion as part of the rest of that playthrough where we talk about some of our most anticipated games that are coming up this year and in the not too distant future. And I think what I'm going to do is actually post the raw unedited video of that as a unlisted YouTube video. The reason for that is I don't really have the time at this point to go through and break that up into nice edited digestible episodes. But I do think there is some interesting and fun stuff that happens in that video that those of you who don't mind watching the unedited stuff will probably enjoy it. But I don't want to necessarily feature it on the channel because I know that people have gotten accustomed to my current sort of short form, highly edited video style, so I don't want to throw something out there that doesn't really fit with that. But for those of you who are super fans and want to see how all that ended, there will be a link in the description for this video that'll let you see that. I guess the other big thing I wanted to talk about in this video is the fact that the game that Max and I both indicated as our favorite PC game of the year so far, Atlas Reactor, launched this week. And I've been having quite a bit of fun, starting with the Head Start event this past weekend and leading right through into this current weekend as I record this video. This is just really a fantastic game, and I know we talked it up quite a bit in the series, but I think it bears repeating, and I think it's something that's worth spending a few minutes on here, just to say what a great, fun, just spectacular experience Atlas Reactor really is, and I really just can't praise this game enough, and I can't give it enough love, and I can't express to you folks just how happy I am to have a game of this quality come out this year and to be able to play it and enjoy it. It's been so long since I've had a game that I've enjoyed this much and with this level of consistency that it's really reminded me a lot of just what I love so much about this hobby and why I stick with it when sometimes things aren't looking the best when it comes to the games that are coming out or the practices of the people involved in the industry or what have you. It's moments like this, sitting and playing a game like Atlas Reactor, where I really am reminded of just why gaming is such a great hobby and why I enjoy it so much. And I understand that, this game might not be everybody's particular cup of tea, but I guess my hope would be, whether you like this game or not, that you find a game that you enjoy as much as I enjoy this. Because I think that's kind of what it's all about, right? It's about finding that thing that connects with you and clicks with you on a personal level and just being able to really enjoy it and be satisfied by it and just be fulfilled from the time you spend with your hobby. The struggle has definitely been real when it comes to gaming over the past several years for various reasons and on various fronts. And I've been saying for a while now that I think 2016 is the beginning of a new sort of renaissance or a new golden age for gaming, and I feel like Atlas Reactor is one of the harbingers of that. It's kind of become one of those games that I look at as a standard bearer moving forward, and I say, like, okay, I know there are other games that are on the horizon that I think will meet or exceed the level of quality and enjoyment that I got from this game. But even if that weren't to happen, I'm at least appreciative of the fact that we got this game out of this year, if nothing else. And like I said in the series, it's not to take away from those other games on our respective top 10 lists. I mean, there's some really great games that have come out this year, but I just really keep coming back to Atlas Reactor as being this really hugely important game that I just really hope everybody gives it at least a chance, because it's one of those games that I feel like is a must play for pretty much anybody who enjoys playing games. And really, with the free-to-play trial option that they have, there's really no reason for anybody not to at least give it a try. One of the other things I wanted to talk about is what I intend to do with the channel moving forward. And that's definitely a bit of a tricky question at the moment, because we're in big AAA game release season now. We have Mafia 3 that just came out. We got Civilization 6 right around the corner, Shadow Warrior 2. All of these bigger, more well-known games coming out over the next several months that I don't know that there's much reason for a channel like mine to cover them, because there's just going to be so many videos out there and so many people providing so much content for all of these big budget, widely known AAA games that I just don't know at this point what I could contribute to that other than just another voice. And historically, I've not had a problem doing that. Even this year, I covered The Division, which, obviously there was no need for me to do that other than to let you guys know what I thought about it. But by the same token, and especially as I find myself more and more being in a situation where I have less and less free time to work with, I really find myself struggling to justify spending time covering games that are widely known and already widely covered. It feels like there are better things I could be spending my time doing. And that's not to say that I want to paint myself into a corner with the channel and say, oh, I'm only going to cover more obscure titles or more indie titles or whatever. I want to be able to talk about whatever I want to talk about, but at the same time, I'm at a place right now where it doesn't make sense for me to make content about a game unless I feel like that game is really being underrepresented or not getting the attention that I feel like it deserves. That's kind of been a hallmark or a recurring theme of this channel from the very beginning, but I feel like especially when I'm in these situations where I don't have a lot of time to spend creating content, that tends to get emphasized even more than it usually is. In terms of expectations and what I would expect as a subscriber to this channel, I think realistically, I've been putting out about 2 videos a month over the past couple months, and I think that's probably going to be about the pace that I try to maintain moving forward. Something like a 5 to 10 minute edited video about some sort of gaming related topic. You're probably going to see a couple of those a month from me. I think that's about all I can really commit to or feel comfortable doing and feel like I can do on a consistent basis. But you never know. Things change very quickly sometimes. Sometimes things go in a completely unexpected or different direction, kind of out of the blue. That certainly happened in the past, and those of you who've been with me for a long time consuming my content, all the way back to things like Gaming's Edge or way before I even started this channel, know that I'm kind of in this for the long haul, right? It's almost 20 years now, coming up next year. Actually, will be 20 years since I started writing about video games. I think my first published video game reviews were in 1997, but I'm in a different place now than I was back then, or even 5 or 10 years ago, in terms of understanding that as much as I enjoy making this kind of content, there's a very limited audience, or a very small but dedicated group of you folks that watch these videos or read my blog or follow me on Twitter and that sort of thing. And I definitely appreciate that support and definitely am encouraged by the fact that I've always grown in terms of viewership and following and that sort of thing. I've never really lost that much ground. But I also am very aware of the fact that there are many other sources out there at this point that do an excellent job of covering the video game industry and providing information about all these various games. And even having done this as long as I have, at a certain point I kind of find myself thinking, is it really even necessary for me to continue doing this? Does it serve any real purpose, or do people even necessarily enjoy this enough for me to justify spending the time doing it? And on some level, it's also about my own personal enjoyment. I just like making this sort of content. So I think there's probably always going to be some part of me that wants to do this or something like it just for fun. But at the same time, it's been quite a while since I've approached creating this sort of stuff with the idea of trying to build an audience. For me, especially in the past 5 to 8 years, it's really been more about just continuing to provide a little something for the people who stuck with me this long, and just trying to have fun and enjoy myself making content. And really anything beyond that just seems completely pointless to consider at this point. I think that's kind of where I want to leave that at the moment. I guess the point to all that is that there is really no plan moving forward for what to do with the channel, other than just trying to put out a couple videos a month just to kind of keep it going and keep the fire stoked, so that if I want to ramp things back up at some point, I won't be doing it from a complete cold start like I did last time. And then I guess the last thing, which maybe doesn't even need to be addressed specifically at this point, given what I already talked about, but if anybody has found their way here from the Nemesis Effect or Sunshot Games or any of the stuff that I had been working on over the past couple of years, and you were not aware of the fact that that project has been suspended indefinitely while I work this new job and while I kind of figure out what my long-term plans are, let me clarify that and make sure that people understand that that is in fact the case. No, the project is not dead. I have not given up on it. I fully intend at some point in the future to see that game through to completion. But at this particular point in time, I don't feel that Unreal Engine 4 is in the state that I need it to be in to follow through with that, nor do I have the free time or the availability to continue to make progress developing that game. I expect that at some point in the future, the situation will change and that will be the case, that I will be able to proceed and complete the game. But as things stand right now, I can't even venture a guess as to when that might be. I feel like that's just the thing that makes the most sense given my circumstances and given the way things are going at the moment. Hopefully folks won't be too disappointed by that. I know we had quite a few folks from when we showed the game at GDC back in 2015 who were pretty excited about it. the prototype that we showed there. I can definitely say that a lot of progress has been made on the game in the time since then, but we're still very far away from anything close to a shippable product as far as the Nemesis effect goes. So it is going to be quite some time before you see or hear anything about that game moving forward from this point. I would say at the bare minimum, we're probably talking at least a year or two before I'm able to seriously consider making any forward progress on that project. I just kind of wanted to leave that out there and let you guys know that that's the case so that nobody's sitting around waiting for an update on that. I think having said all that, I'm going to bring this long and extremely rambling gaming vlog update to a close. Hopefully you folks have enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. If you'd like to see more videos from me in the future, be sure to hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.
Could lift a tank. Last turn. Slow and steady.
Stay one step ahead.
Time for my getaway.
Victory! What? No more heads to pop?